I were to say my favorite event in downhill skating, there's a lot of really great events. There are some that just live differently, that have a different structure. I may be a little biased, but I really liked actually the event that I run. I think it was really cool having the Tepe and Tacos event here. It was conceptually different. The idea was to have people have fun together, to not actually make it all about racing and winning the cash. I love that people were negotiating and talking about their ticket deals, and it really put a smile on my face. And if I had been to that event, I think I would have had a lot of fun. I mean, it was the most special event for me because it was something I could give to other people. And I can't tell you how difficult it was to organize. It was very difficult. And the satisfaction of doing it was better than almost any event I've been to. But I mean, if I'm going to pick just one, I think you have to make kind of a decision. Is it the best track or is it the best structure? And those are often different things. So I think the structure at Giant's Head is really great. I think the race road at Britannia is really great. So, you know, these are sometimes exclusive things, and I couldn't really make a call. I mean, I could just say that the race hill at Britannia is great. It's probably the best racetrack I can think of. And when I look at Giant's Head is probably one of the most fun events you can go to. So I don't know, there's a few more questions on that I had answered. Yeah. And racing memories, well, that one. When I went to Angie's Curves the first year, I admit that I was scared. I have never been to a road where I went there and I said, wow, I am unable to compete at this track. And I was going back the second year, and honestly, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I was hoping that I would have a better formula, which I took there. George brewed something up that he figured might work. And I ended up riding the best wheel for hot temperatures I'd ever touched. It was made of something different, something unusual. And that formula allowed me to race at a high level again on a track that the last year I was scared at. And I think that just being in the finals was number one huge. I mean, to even qualify in the top 10 and then ending up top 3 or 4 through the shootout was really special. And then just firing down the last straight, catching Dylan after he had a 300-foot lead on me was kind of like, I was coming up on him like, I think this is going to work. And having had that experience the year before where I was almost too scared to do runs. I mean, I just was scared I was going to hit the hay bales at 60 miles an hour. And then to be in the finals, picking off the guy in first place, going into the last 2 corners was really special. And it's just something that I won't forget. And I have to admit that it was the formula that let me do that, but I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Sure, I'll take all the credit.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This is a good one, a good question. In my opinion here, and I want everybody to really know that skateboards are a very opinionated topic, and everybody has a different feel.
Really?
Maybe. So anyway, the opinion that I have, and if your skateboard feels better with split trucks, you go ahead. But in my opinion, there's something that I ride a skateboard for, and it's fun. And when I put a ridiculously obscure low plate in the rear, it makes my skateboard less fun because it speaks less to me. It doesn't act the way that I want it to. And what I do is I really steer from my back foot. And I've realized that, I mean, it could be after I broke my ankle, I probably even steer more from my back foot than ever. So when I think about a skateboard, we have this amazing ability that both our front and rear can steer. They can even steer equally. And on a car, that's just simply never going to happen. You need the stability, you need the safety. But by having a skateboard that can steer from front and rear, how are you losing out? You're getting more steering. That feels good to me. And there's a playfulness that comes from having that same angle in the rear. It wants to kind of have some movement, some action. And that control is something that I enjoy a lot. And actually, when my skateboard says something to me that I didn't expect, it's fun for me to adapt. And you know what? I see these guys on low plates and I don't see them win a tremendous number of races. If you want to look at the guys who are winning lots of races, there's a lot of guys with symmetrical setups. So, you know, at some point, if somebody was really just taking me to the cleaners every time on a track, I would consider putting in a low plate. I did it, I tried it, it didn't increase my fun, number one, that's really why I skateboard. And two, it didn't actually allow me to do better on the track, so why would I have less fun for no gain? That's where I'm at with it. Maybe George has a different idea on asymmetrical or symmetrical plates. Guys run like a 15-degree in the rear and a 60-degree in the front.
You know, my opinion on this is going to come from a lot of years, and what I've found is that when people are beginning, they often run real tight trucks, and they don't really want to turn that much because they haven't learned how to handle the turning yet. And the better and better you get, the less that's a problem. Maybe a little like ice skating, you know, your ankles are like this in the beginning. And pros, even in the 70s, I used to watch guys get out of a bowl, and the really good skaters were often riding trucks that were just like this, just floppy, practically no bushings in them, loosened up or worn out, didn't matter. They just had so much control that was just second nature to them. And they didn't want that resistance, that something was holding them back. So I think there's probably a place for, like, you know, rock hard trucks if you're doing tech tricks on the street or freestyle or something. And as you get better and you're skating all kinds of terrains, there's going to be a place for fun trucks, as you say. Yeah.
When it comes to media, I really think that there are two ends of the spectrum. There's their core, brutal, gnarly skaters who have an expectation. And I think that it is our duty to deliver what they're expecting. They want to see something and go, whoa, that was insane. I can't believe that dude went 75, or I can't believe that guy dropped down 30 stairs and landed it and didn't snap his board somehow. And I think that it is important that there is something inspiring for a skater to grow into. You couldn't just feed them the low end and expect them to grow as a skater into somebody special. And I think that in media now, we've created this demand for this high-end stuff, and there's a response to it. But that response also comes from people outside of skateboarding, and we need that as much as possible. So I definitely see that we want these viral videos. We want these guys going 75, 80 miles an hour in their t-shirt and shorts going, oh my God, these guys are insane. Why would they ever risk themselves like this? Because it might inspire somebody to buy that cruiser board. But what we also need to deliver is when they get that cruiser board, they need to see that it's okay to cruise to the beach. It's okay to go to 7-Eleven and buy your drink and cruise home with your bag of chips, and that's totally cool. And that's what got me into skating. I mean, at the end of the day, I was just in Vancouver last week, and I was cruising around the old streets that I used to, pushing around downtown, and you know, I pushed my skateboard to get my coffee. I pushed my skateboard to get my lunch, and that is integral to the skateboarding experience. And if we don't make that cool, if we don't make that something that anybody can do, anybody's gonna have fun with, then they're not inspired to pick up a skateboard in the first place. They think that all it is this crazy downhill thing, but all of the fun I had from the cruising portion when I couldn't even stop. I mean, I couldn't even stop when I first got my first longboard. I mean, it was hilarious. I was trying to drag the toe off the side of the board. Like, I think I can slow down this way, kind of thing. And then all of that fun I had to get to the level that I am now, it's all based in the most soft, mellow cruising. And there's so many steps in between the 75 miles an hour and the guy cruising on the street that we should inspire people to do too, because that's a lot of fun for everyone. You don't need to get insane. You don't need to go ridiculous to enjoy skateboarding. And I think that we need both. It's really hard for me to really find something, because it's just, as I'm trying to go back, it's just a blur of all this fun that I've had. I have a few different stories, I guess. One of them, it's honestly the story that I kind of regret most in my life, I think, because I feel so bad about doing this, and I would never relive this ever again, you know. But it makes me laugh, and it'll probably make other people laugh too. So anyway, I was trying to get down to this race or event, free ride event, years and years and years ago. I mean, I was a young kid at the time. And we were trying to get down to Mary Hill. I think it was like 2005 or something, so it was a long time ago. 2006, I guess, something like that. We're trying to get down there, and we're driving with a guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, if you're ever gonna rear end somebody, steer into the barrier. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll try not to do that, I guess. And so we're about to rear end somebody, and he steered into the barrier, and he ripped a hole in his tire, and it was amazing because we came to an immediate stop. I was like, oh, that was actually really effective, cool. So we're in a Ford Focus, and we need to get to Mary Hill, and everything's closed because it's holiday weekend, and no way we're gonna get there. And as a group, we're kind of sitting around going like, well, how are we gonna get to Mary Hill? And we all just sort of, as a group, were like, well, I bet there's another Ford Focus around with a tire.
And lo and behold.
So we made it to Mary Hill.
That's a real skater story.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty bad. I still feel bad. Whoever that was, I'm sorry.
I hope you put the bad one on their car in return.
It was pretty, well, we left them the donut too, just in case.
Nice. I knew you were a gentleman.
Yeah,
That was funny.
it was pretty bad.
Pop that, George?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
No, but I did a lot of funny stories. Skating's really fun, but I remember when some of the fun times when I was first developing the Quicksilver board in the 70s. I wasn't a great slalom racer, but I did have a lot of fun with it. And as I was developing boards, I gravitated to hills. And I just remember, you remember cruising around, you're first learning to stop. And I remember learning to slalom really steep hills, because there's no way I was going to bomb it on my slalom boards. But that was a fun learning experience. And another time, did a lot of actually downhill skating and testing. We used to test wheels in the 70s over in Montecito. But an inventor, someone who really felt skateboarding should have brakes. And as a result, he developed a disc brake system for skateboards, and he'd actually built a truck that had disc brakes on it. It only weighed about 10 pounds. But it worked, and he had a little handle that you could use. And he wanted us to test it. So SYMMETRICAL was up that day, and he was listening to the pitch, and I was listening to his pitch, and we finally said, okay, let's go skate it. So we went up to a hill in Montecito, and it wasn't even our board. We were like not sure about skating this thing. But we skated it, and as a result of having the confidence, I found that I was going way faster than I should have gone. We were both just bombing the hill, and you actually could stop and slow down. But that was about all you could do because of the weight and the difficulty of doing it. But it was one of those times where I'm going way faster than I should go. I know it's over if I fall, but it's one of those things that you remember. You always, when you're pushing the envelope in whatever you do, you remember that moment. So for sure. Fun times in skateboarding, maybe more along your lines, was being on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning and getting calls from the East Coast from irate parents wanting to know where their daughters were because their daughters had somehow been allowed to get into the team van with our Bones Brigade team and had disappeared from town. And the parents had figured out it was us, and they'd tracked me down in the middle of the night and wanted to know where was their daughter and what was she doing. That was a hard one to answer because I had a really good idea what she was doing. I didn't want to say. Yeah, road trips are always amazing. Those are good stories.